Hey guys, I just picked up one of these the other day, so let's check it out.
Stop, collaborate and listen.
Software download instructions on reverse. Yo. USB lead. Do you want to automatically assign the controls of the M Audio Oxygen 25? Click Auto Assign to automatically assign the buttons, knobs and other controls of the Oxygen 25 to the smart controls and other functions of Logic Pro X. Auto Assign. Right. So, there we go. Let's bring that screen brightness back. So, velocity sensitive. This is already assigned to this, some sort of brightness on the synth. Okay, so here she is set up and it's pretty painless. Okay, I just, there's nothing to install, just plug it into the Mac and straight away it's working with Logic. So just above here you can't see, but I've got an instrument track with the electric piano on. Just create an instrument track and straight away you're playing it. So we've got velocity sensitivity. Okay, the transport controls work with Logic straight as soon as you plug it in. Play, you can see the player there on the screen moving. Stop works for its first and second press, it takes it back to 0. The record works, if I hit record it starts to click to count in to record. It's going to record. And this loop icon button here, it brings the cycle range, the locator, left right locator range cycle loop on and off. So that's all kind of pre-configured. And the fader here, this little fader, by default always controls the volume control of the channel for the track you've selected, whether it's an instrument, an audio track or what. So this is always your volume. And then you've got, step up and down the octaves here, pretty simple. Easy peasy, right? When you're playing a pitched instrument, these pads which have got fixed notes just trigger the pitches that they're assigned to, and then the 8 control pots here are just pre-configured, just straight out of the bag. All I had to do was plug it in and it's working with Logic straight away. So with this electric piano, if I open the smart controls, there they are. This particular instrument has 8 smart control pots, and these are just assigned to it. Well, they were. Seems a bit hit and miss. Sometimes you go to it and they're not. Now it's not doing it. It was doing it before. Sometimes you go and some of the pots aren't responding. Number 1 is not. Number 2 is. Number 3 is not. Number 4 is. Number 5 is. Number 6 is. Number 7 and number 8. But I wonder why is it doing that. Let me make that track again. Let's make it from scratch. Delete the track. Start again. You can't see, I'm just creating a new software instrument track again from scratch. The electric piano's on it, right? There's the controls. And still number 1 pot is not assigned. Number 2 is. Number 3 isn't. Number 4 is. Number 5 is. Number 6 is. Number 7 is. And number 8 is. So if I wanted to reassign, 1 isn't working. This pot is not assigned to the smart control there, this first one. Number 2 is, but number 3 isn't. So, but it's so quick to reassign these to any smart controls you want, because you might load up a synth which has got 10 smart control pots or 12 smart control pots. Usually these control the first 8, working across from left to right and then to the next row from left to right. So to reassign these it's really easy. So I just go to the edit, click on that little icon there, to edit the smart controls, and then here is the learn external assignment. Latch it, choose that pot, and I'm just moving this, it's assigned, done. Then the third one wasn't working, so choose the third pot and the software pot there, and then move the third pot here. Now that's assigned, and that's it. It's all done. So delatch learn, and now these controls are mapped. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7 and number 8 are now all working. So usually they're mapped to the first 8 smart controls, but it's so simple to quickly reassign them to any, any pot here to any smart control you want in the smart controls. And of course your quick access controller can be assigned quickly to any pot you want if you're doing quick access automation controller to write in automation moves or something like that. Okay, so that's all really easy. Yeah, it's just all I wanted was a basic thing to play some notes, step them down the octaves, do some basic control, and that's it. And it's got as a bonus some basic transport controls. Fine, for 70 quid it does what I want. The only downside is, I can't believe it, you can't reassign the MIDI notes for these pads on board the actual unit. You can't choose a pad and edit its MIDI note number. They're fixed, right? And the MIDI notes that they control is, I'll show you, let's go into record and records the notes coming from these pads with the electric piano. Here we go. Because no matter what you're triggering, these always send out the same MIDI notes. You can shift the pads up and down by octaves as a group, or up and down by semitones as a group, but their notes are fixed and can't be changed. So this is the notes they're sending out. Hit record. There we go. And these are the notes that the pads are sending out. C1 for the first pad, D1, then it goes up to F sharp 1, the fourth pad, A sharp 1, the fifth pad, D2, the sixth pad, A1, the seventh pad, D sharp 2, and the eighth pad, C sharp 2. You cannot change those notes. Right? Sad. I just when I found that out, I was like, oh come on. But then I thought, well, is it that much of a disaster to edit? Typically on a keyboard like this, because I've owned a lot of these and synths where you've got to edit the parameters of things, and to edit a pad note number, you'd have to go into edit, you'd have to select the pad, you'd have to then select the function, which will be a key, because all keys on keyboards have alternative functions when you're in edit, right? You'd have to then press the key or the button that puts it into the mode for changing the note number. Then you'd have to type in the note number using these keys, which function as 0 to number 9 number selectors. Type in the note number you want, then press enter, and that's all that palaver to change the note on the pad. Well, we can, in Logic, if you don't know, there's a full tutorial on our channel showing you how to do it. But if I wanted to reassign the pads here to drum notes that I wanted, right, here's a drum instrument here, and the pads currently are triggering, obviously they're fixed numbers. Kick, snare, 2 hi-hats, a shaker, a tom and 2 cymbals. Right, like that. So to change the drums that these are triggering in Logic, it is, as I said, there's a full tutorial on our channel, but very quickly all you have to do is go into the main preferences, advanced, obviously you're in advanced mode anyway, and you want to tick advanced MIDI here, advanced MIDI, right, boom, advanced MIDI. Then that gives you access here to your MIDI environment, which is, select here, mixer. Right, now if it's a drum machine designer, right, what you do is, whatever, you create a new mapped instrument from this new menu here, new mapped instrument, a little icon appears, this is a mapped instrument icon, and this list drops up. These are the note numbers, right? Okay, now you just drag the cable off this mapped instrument and plug it into the channel on the mixer that's got the drum instrument on it. Right, so if it's an ultra beat on an instrument track, you drag it to the channel with the ultra beat on. If it's a drum machine designer, like I'm using, you don't drag it to the drum machine designer channel, which is the group bus. You drag it to the channel which is the kick that's got the actual ultra beat on it, And if it's the drum kit designer, you drag it to the overheads, which has the actual instrument on it, and you just plug it in to the channel with the actual drum instrument. Done, like that. And then when this pops up, you say don't remove. It's as simple as that, and then close the environment. Okay, then all you do is create a new track, an external MIDI track. It automatically takes the name of the Oxygen 25, it detects it, and then you just bring up the track shortcut menu, reassign the track to the mixer mapped instrument. Done. That's it. Now the incoming MIDI notes for the pads are being routed, and for the keys actually, are being routed to through this map to the drum instrument. So the pads are still on playing their default notes, which are passing through the map as is. But if I wanted to, that's my kick, this pad here. That's my kick. That's my snare. Hats. Well, this shaker, if I wanted to change this to play the clap instead, when you hit the pad, it shows you here on the map which note you've hit. It's that one, and I just change the out note. And as I drag the outgoing note up and down, I hear which drum I'm selecting, which drum it's triggering. There, so I'll go for that clappy sound there. Done, it's that simple. So just set up the notes that you want to trigger, right? So you know, once this is done, you start working on your composition, and any time you want these pads to trigger a different note, you just select the pad and change its out note to trigger whichever drum you want, and then you're triggering the drums you want. Yeah, so easy peasy. It's not such a big pain, and it's once this mapped instrument has been set up, which takes literally 1 minute, and then the track assigned to the external MIDI track assigned to the mapped instrument. It takes only as much time to set this map up so it's ready to be tweaked any time as it would take to edit one pad internally in this keyboard. So we just remap our drum pads through this mapping, right? Easy peasy, right? Otherwise, I mean, it would have been nice if M-Audio had included the ability to edit the pads, but you can't, and that's it. But otherwise, I'm happy with it. It does what I want. Yeah, it's perhaps quite bulky, but I mean, it's quite deep. But then again, it's firm on the surface here. So yeah, it works alright. Easy peasy, yeah. But for working with Logic is what I got it for, and I'm kind of reviewing it here from the point of view of a cheap master keyboard to work with Logic. And of course, if you know about the quick access controller in Logic, the quick access automation controller is in our playlist called Logic Pro X Tips and Tricks. The quick access automation controller can be assigned to any of these 8 pots when you're doing automation work and you want to use hands-on control to do that. So yeah, it's alright, you know, velocity sensitive, works out of the box. So there you go, the M-Audio Oxygen 25. As I say, it retails around £70 British. Nice and bulky, nice and sturdy. It's alright. I hope that's useful.